The Mississippi River always made me a tad bit queasy. I can think of no body of water in the world that is more full of fish urine. It's enough to put a man off his biscuits. People seem to enjoy my humorous stories, not so much for the quality of the rotten, but because I always include a naked picture of my wife servicing a team of well-endowed donkeys. The one good thing I can say for my mother is that with that face of hers, I never had to worry about that there Oedipus complex none. I'm glad I was born in the 1800s, or else my sideburns would have looked mighty dopey. If you put a toothpick in a turd, that does not make it an hors d'oeuvre, unless of course you're from Indiana. I reckon my most famous book would have to be The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. What many folks don't realize is that my small-minded publisher refused to include a chapter where Huck and Jim, the runaway slave, consummate the mutual affection for one another. That was the hottest gay sex scene I ever put on paper. The lunatics have stopped running the asylum. The assholes have taken over. There are many reasons to go to Paris, France. The smell of the people is not one of them. Why is it that men are classified as premature ejaculators? Why aren't women considered unnecessarily long climaxes? For Christmas, I likes to tell people I'm gonna give you the gift of laughter. Then I make a fart noise. A homeless person may not have a place to live, but in all likelihood, he also does not have a mother-in-law. Those two things kind of cancel each other out. The news of my death was not exaggerated at all. I am one dead cracker and have been for an extended period of time. During my mischievous boyhood days in Hannibal, Missouri, whitewashing a fence had nothing to do with painting it. I don't know anything, but that's a hell of a lot more than most people know. There are only two things worse than my mother's face, and they are both too horrible for me to mention. Women are the only creatures on God's green earth who can have multiple orgasms and still find things to complain about. How is it that blind people keep from constantly falling asleep? I believe if I were to have sex with any animal, it would have to be the monkey. But I'd at least want the monkey to wear lipstick and a bow in her hair to make the act a bit more palatable. The American political system is to put one party in office until they completely fuck everything up so you can't stand it anymore, then replace them with the other party until they completely fuck everything up so you can't stand it anymore. I don't rightly understand why there are two separate words for woman and cow. All of the great accomplishments in my life somehow involve saliva. In terms of physique, you could say that I possess a six-pack. Unfortunately, it's a six-pack of pudding. I bet if they raided the house of Santa Claus, they would find a ton of kitty porn. If there is an afterlife, I'd just as soon not go rather than being stuck with all these assholes again. For a time in my youth, I was employed as a riverboat pilot, not because of my love for the mighty Mississippi, but because riverboat pilots get more tail than the Backstreet Boys. I don't know what's more terrible about growing old, the death and disease, or the having sex with old ladies. I never had to carry a picture of my mother in my pocket. Whenever I got lonesome for dear old Ma, I would just go down to the outhouse and peer down the crap hole. Not only were the sights reminiscent of my mother, but also the smells. I could see where the righteous people would not want prostitution to be legal. But hand jobs too? Come on, throw a guy a bone. If I were the President of the United States, the first law I would pass would be anyone who owns a Beanie Baby is gonna have it shoved right up their rectal cavity. A woman with an idea is like a frog with a 4-foot penis. Marriage is kind of like a metamorphosis where you see someone transformed from a lovely young girl into Mrs. Roper. If there could be only one food, I would pick cupcakes. If I was an engine, I suppose I would call myself Comes in Face. I don't know this for a fact, but I believe Miss Nicole Kidman has her pubic hair trimmed in such a way that it forms the number 666. There should be a sign outside the zoo that reads, "Come see our animals take a crap." If men were allowed to have more than one wife, the rates of murder, alcoholism, and homosexuality would skyrocket. I never trust a product that is advertised as all natural. A bloody abscess in your rectum is as all natural as it gets.